Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that.
You all don't remember the Georgia Southern game, do you?
I hope there's Bigfoot. I don't think there is.
Like rat poison. All right, so
It's Division One football. It ain't intramurals.
Is right. This is Division One football. Welcome back to the Hoppy Huddle. My name is Jake Hoppy, and we're doing a solo show today. Unfortunately, couldn't get the schedules to work out, but I did promise Dad Ed Hoppy that I will read his picks on air on the show tonight. We did not. That's my bad. I slacked last time. I did a solo show, if you remember, I was not able to remember in my head to read off his picks, but I've got them right here on the phone, and we have got a great weekend of college football to talk about. We've got a lot going on, some interesting matchups, some anticlimactic matchups. If you're looking at the slate preseason and towards the beginning of the year, people were looking at this weekend like, man, November 1st. Boy, that's going to be a cornucopia of games. I can't wait to see what happens that day. And we've got some great games, don't get me wrong, but there's some matchups today where you're just like, man, I thought it would be a little better from the preseason, a little better from earlier in the season, but we're still going to dive into it. We're going to talk about it, and we are going to go through a bunch of the major matchups. I'm going to give you my picks. I'm going to give you Ed's picks, and how the season's been going so far. If you really want to make a lot of money, you can just fade my picks because I'm hitting it like 40%. So it's a pretty clear edge there. So if you really want to make money, follow the show, like and subscribe. Give us all that sweet engagement, and you'll get a really, really reliable, about 60% accuracy against the spread. If you pick the opposite of what I pick, because I've been not doing too hot this year, but that's just how it goes. Sometimes you do. Last year we were positive. This year we are not. Anyway, moving on, we have got a lot of games to get into, starting with the noon slate. And I think we've got to start here at the noon slate with what I'm excited to watch as a clash of styles, as a clash of different programs, levels of programs even. And it's a clash of college football titans, two of the most historic brands in college football. That is the Texas Longhorns and the Vanderbilt Commodores. I'm kidding. One of these teams is a bona fide playoff contender, an SEC championship contender. And if you've been living under a rock since college football season started, if you're just tuning in now, it may surprise you that the Vanderbilt Commodores are 7-1, and they are the team that is a playoff contender. Texas, not mathematically eliminated at 6-2, but they've looked god awful, and it'd be a pretty major shock at this point if they were to end up in the SEC championship game or the college football playoff. These two programs have had wildly different trajectories this year. Texas, they came in preseason number one, famously the first time in their program's history. They have a roster loaded with talent, with a Heisman favorite quarterback, bringing back up studs along the defense, which, by the way, their defense is still really good. Colin Simmons, some of the other guys in that defense, especially the linebacking and secondary, are fantastic. But the team overall has just not performed where everybody expected and where they expected them to be this far through the season. You can place a lot of that blame on Arch Manning. I'd say that's not entirely unfounded, but you have to really focus with Texas here on what has been the critical juncture of all of the problems of the Texas offense this year. And we noticed this like game 2. This was like apparent at the beginning of the season. It has not gotten better. It has not improved. We're now in week 10. And if you're not figured out the offensive line by week 10, like, buddy, it's not happening. Texas offensive line is atrocious. They are maybe the second or third worst in the SEC. They cannot block anybody. They can't pass protect. They can't run block. They can't gap scheme. They can't zone scheme. There's nothing. There's nothing they can do well. They're not a good offensive line. They lost all those guys to the draft. Everybody wondered how will they replace them. They've got highly rated guys coming in, and they haven't been able to. And this, if you don't have good offensive line blocking, you can't run these long, complicated screenplays that Sark likes to do. You can't run these long, developing crossing routes and these kind of gadgety plays that are very well schemed, very well thought out by Sark, but it requires good blocking by the offensive line, and it requires people to execute precisely over not over a short amount of time, but a long amount of time for a play. And without the good offensive line that they had last year, it's just not happening. And the plays are getting blown up, and the offense is dead in the water. And honestly, they're just not a good football team. I mean, it's that simple. And this just, with Sark, we kind of thought we were going to break the mold of Texas underperforming with elite talent, and we did for a year. Even a couple of years we did. But it seems like the old Texas has reared its ugly head again. They've got 5 stars everywhere, and they aren't playing like them. But the team that they're playing, the Vanderbilt Commodores, Clark Lee and Diego Pavia, have got this thing humming. Now, Vanderbilt hasn't been perfect either. They lost to Alabama, got completely shut out in the second half, basically shut down on offense. They struggled against Missouri, a good football team, but they looked really sloppy, and they got the win, and that's good for them. But they were by no means a well-oiled machine in the Missouri game. However, Diego Pavia is just one of these guys. He's an X-factor guy. He's a dog. He's a unit. He's whatever. He's every cliche that you can list about a quarterback that shows his mental toughness, his decision making, everything that you would want in a quarterback. He's a leader. He perseveres. He doesn't, has the memory of a goldfish, and he's a legitimate Heisman contender. And the thing is everybody keeps betting against Vanderbilt, waiting for them to just be overpowered. And even the Alabama game, they really weren't overpowered. I don't understand how Texas is favored in this game. Texas is favored by 2.5. I do not understand it. It makes no sense to me. I'm betting Texas. I'm betting Vanderbilt to cover against Texas, and I'm not concerned about it. Vanderbilt keeps winning games. Texas doesn't look good. Even the games they won, like Mississippi State last week, they should have lost. That's the same. Everyone's like, if you had seen this Mississippi State versus Texas game last year, you could have been like, this is a one-off. This is something that doesn't happen every week with them. But Texas has looked like that all season long. So it wasn't at all surprising that they struggled with Mississippi State. And I think Vanderbilt is significantly better than Mississippi State. All kudos to Jeff Lebby and the team and what they've done there with Blake Shapen. But I think Vanderbilt's a much better team. And with that, you have what just doesn't make sense to me. And I know it's only 2.5, and that's good on Vanderbilt for getting that line to 2.5. But I am absolutely picking Texas on this one. And here's a crazy thing. Ed Hoppy, of the Hoppy Huddle fame, is picking Texas minus 2.5. And I don't understand his reasoning on this one. I'm fighting him. I'm going against him. I'm betting Texas minus 2.5. So I'm not sure why his thought process is. I guess he's probably going off of Vanderbilt looking sloppy last week against Missouri and thinking Texas's defense may be able to hold Vanderbilt's rushing attack, very dangerous rushing attack, in check. And I can kind of see that argument, but I just don't believe in it. And so that's why I'm going the opposite way. I see better reasons for the other side, but Ed is picking and betting Texas minus 2.5. And in his text to me, he said, quote, "Straight cash, homie," So that's from Ed. Straight cash, homie. Texas minus 2.5 from him. Vanderbilt plus 2.5 for me. All right. Next game up. Let's talk about the Big 12 Super Showdown. College game day is finally not going to an SEC game. They're going to a Big 12 game. It is Cincinnati Bearcats at the Utah Utes. Rice Eccles Stadium. We'll be rocking. Brendan Sorsby will be running. And, man, you know, I think I have to take a long, hard look at myself because I really did not think Scott Satterfield was a great coach. I know he had a couple of successful years at Louisville, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, in retrospect, I didn't appreciate the job that he did at Louisville, I guess, because of the state of the state that Louisville's program was in when he coached there. Brahms got a lot more buy-in now, but he has really done a great job rebuilding the Cincinnati program after Luke Fickell left. Fickell left him with people there, but a lot of those guys graduated, and he kind of had to. He didn't have a veteran team that he inherited, and he's really built them up. Evan Pryor is a great running back. He's rushed for 478 yards already this year. Brendan Sorsby, he's thrown for 1,800 yards with 20 touchdowns. He's a fantastic quarterback. He takes advantage of weak defenses. And, the line here in this game is it's Utah minus 10.5, if I'm correct. And I don't see that at all. I think Cincinnati, while they do kind of struggle in the secondary on defense, and Utah, to Utah's credit, did obliterate Colorado. However, I don't think Colorado is a very good football team, so I don't put much credit in that at all. They do have Bird Ficklin at Utah now. He came in last week for Dampier. I don't know what the Utah injury situation is. I don't know if Bird Ficklin will be starting. Kyle Whittingham is notoriously terrible with his injury reports. He basically just lies on them every single week. And you can't really stop him because it just says that everybody's questionable. So who knows there? Utah's offense seems to have improved with Bird Ficklin. But I still lean Cincinnati. I think Sorsby is one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country. He gets no credit for this, by the way, because he plays in the Big 12, because he plays at Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's, up front, they've got that huge nose tackle, Corleone. He is a beast. And you may be like, well, Utah has the offensive line to deal with it. If you just popped in from the preseason, that would be the correct answer. It's not the preseason. We've seen the Utah O-line. How well did they deal with the Texas Tech pass rush? Not very well, right? These Utah highly rated draft picks of Utah that I was puffing up preseason. And this is something that you live and you learn. You adjust your opinion when you're wrong in college football. The Utah offensive linemen are nowhere near as good as they should be. The unit as a unit, the line has not been good, and individually the linemen have not been great. And so I think Cincinnati can actually get some pressure on either Ficklin or Dampier. And I think Cincinnati's, if you can get some pressure on them, I think either one of those quarterbacks will be able to take advantage of Cincinnati's secondary. So give me Cincinnati plus 10.5. I don't know why it's such a large number. I understand Utah's a good home field advantage, but give me Utah or Cincinnati minus plus 10.5 versus Utah. And so we are also in the noon slot. Let's jump back to the noon slot. We have a couple of other interesting games. Houston, West Virginia, only 12.5 line. I'm not betting it, but I would expect Houston to cover there. Willie Fritz has really got that program going. I think Houston, obviously, at this point is a Big 12 title contender. Anybody who tells you different is still got their head stuck in the ground. So, yeah, Houston, definitely look out for that. Baylor, Baylor, UCF. It's Baylor -3.5. My Bears, man. My Bears. I really don't think I think they're going to lose to UCF. I really do. It's 3, the line's 3 for a reason. These teams are vastly different in talent. And I don't know. I don't think the team's checked out, but the fans are checked out. Parents of players are checked out. The administration, I don't know what they're going to do. If they lose to UCF, you got to move on, right? You got to move on, right? I don't know, but it's rough. It's rough being a Bears fan this year. It is homecoming, but I don't know if that'll be enough. I don't know if that'll be enough. Also in the noon slot, Rutgers at Illinois. Rutgers is not the defensive team they've been. I think Illinois rolls here. I did not bet it, but that's my prediction. Navy UNT. Navy's good offense, but UNT is blowing out basically everyone except USF. And Navy has had some tackling issues in the past. They've kind of cleaned that up recently, but yeah, I know Navy's got a good quarterback. I know they do, but I just lean UNT. UNT's been a dog. They've been rolling people, and I think that'll continue. We talked about Vanderbilt, Texas. The other big noon game, which would have been an more exciting game had SMU filled up their end of the bargain and not lost to Wake Forest last week. But Miami, SMU, and so Miami at SMU. I like Miami here for obvious reasons. The line's 12.5, 10.5, something like that, in around that range. I do think with Miami, there's always the Mario factor of him like being dumb, and Rhett Lashley is the absolute opposite of the Mario factor. So that there could be a swing there. But I kind of think that SMU's shown defensively that they can't really stop anybody. And I think Miami may just be able to push them over and push them around and just win this game. That's kind of how I see this game going. I know Carson Beck had a not great game last week, to say the least, but I don't think he needs to have a great game to beat SMU. I don't think, or no, he was against Louisville. He didn't have a great game. He didn't have a great first half against Stanford, and they cleaned it up in the second half. But I think from the perspective of Miami's offense versus SMU's defense, it's a clear advantage there in size, in speed, and I kind of just think Miami rolls here. Now, SMU can score for sure, but Miami's defense is no joke, and I don't think SMU's offensive line has the guys to block Ruben Bain, Hakeem Mesidor, those just absolute rockets on the defensive line. And so, yeah, give me Miami. I think they win and cover. I'm not picking it, but yeah. You've also got Duke, Clemson. No idea who's going to win this one. Clemson still trying to make a bowl. Duke, same thing. No idea how it's going to go. 3-4 versus 4-3, battle of mid. Anyway, all still in the noon slot, we have undefeated Ohio State versus Penn State at home. Ohio State is at home. Penn State was supposed to be. This is their big matchup. This is the big one, and this is going to be a blowout. The line's only 18.5 now, 19.5. Give me Ohio State to cover. I think Ryan Day would like nothing more than to just blow the doors off the Jim Knowles defense of Jim Knowles of Ohio State national championship fame. And so, yeah, I think you just got to go Ohio State here. I think Penn State's a team that's quit. I don't know. I mean, obviously, James Franklin's been fired. They don't have a head coach. I don't know where you go from here as a program. You're kind of just mailing in the season. So, yeah. Ohio State rolls 19.5. Julian Sain's been amazing. Jeremiah Smith's been amazing. Caleb Downs has been amazing. All those guys on the Ohio State team are amazing. They might be just everybody else might just be playing for second, if we're being honest here. Ohio State's that good, and I don't know. I haven't seen them look struggled. They haven't struggled at all, and they haven't looked like they needed to. They haven't looked pressured. Everything's looked easy. The first game against Texas, you're right. They struggled on offense. But it was Sayan's first game, and they eventually got it going, and Texas never moved the ball. That Ohio State defense, especially the secondary, is insane. Caleb Downs is a monster. Everywhere he goes, he teleports all over the field as a safety. That dude, if we're being honest, Caleb Downs is the best player in college football and should win the Heisman, probably, right? Him or Jeremiah Smith. But that's not how the Heisman works. Ohio State rolls here against Penn State. I think, I think that's pretty much it. Moving on, I think we've got what else? What else we want to talk about? Arizona State, Iowa State could be a good game. Both these teams, Iowa State, Arizona State, are pretty much out of the Big 12 title race, but they're still playing. The winner goes to a bowl game here, and they're both, good, solid teams. So I would expect a good game out of that. Texas Tech, Kansas State. Kansas State sneakily been having a recovery. They haven't been like atrocious the last couple of weeks. They started off the year horribly. Lost in Ireland, almost lost to North Dakota, lost to Army, lost to Arizona, and then they beat UCF, and then they almost beat Baylor. Not a big accomplishment now that we're saying that, but and then they beat TCU and they beat Kansas, and they beat Kansas pretty handily. They beat them 42-17. They're kind of rolling. Like, if you're Texas Tech, this is the trappiest of all trap games. A team with nothing to lose that would love nothing more to spoil your playoff run. Your players are paid way more than theirs. And they probably don't like that. You're coaching. You're playing for your coach. You're playing for everything there at Kansas State, except the championship, and you're playing to ruin the season for Texas Tech. And Texas Tech, if you're looking at it, it's a 4-4 team. You're like, yeah, maybe I could take a week off. Don't. This is a team that will snap up and bite you. Avery Johnson is playing really well. He's playing like the player that we all thought he was supposed to be. And yeah, Texas Tech, they got injuries. Baron Morton, his health status, he's very injured all the time. I think he's going to be back this week. At least that's what some people said. But, he gets dinged up easily. They lost that guy on the defensive line. And so if you're Texas Tech, this is a huge trap game. Also, we've got Minnesota, Michigan State. I don't know, get coin flip. I don't expect a lot of points in that one. Total's 45. So I think Minnesota probably wins in a close one. Pitt Stanford could be a sneakily good game. Stanford playing pretty well recently, and Pitt has been, scoring like absolute madmen against everybody they've played recently. Pitt could. It's very possible that Pitt could just kind of weasel their way into the ACC championship game, and yeah, that's something to look out for. Pitt is 6-2. Stanford, they got in a new quarterback. Ben Gulbranson has been playing well. And yeah, so I don't know. Pitt, let's look at the rest of Pitt's schedule. They got Stanford. Well, I take it back. Pitt has got Stanford, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Miami. So they're not going to make it to the ACC championship. We're back. Sorry about that, folks. Just a little bit of a microphone issue. I think. What else? What else do we have going on? Yeah, I think basically for the ACC, it's down to a couple teams. I think let's go on here. Oh, let me get to the rest of my picks really quick. We have Indiana minus 21.5 versus Maryland. Indiana's wagon. They're trying to score as many points as possible and win Mendoza the Heisman. They're going to blow out every team they can by as many points as they can. 21.5 for Indiana. They'll cover. Lay them. Florida plus 7.5. I think Georgia is weak defensively. I don't think that they're actually as good of a team as their record says they are. I think Florida will come away with I don't know if they'll win, but I think 7.5 they'll cover. DJ Lagway, if they get a better play color in there, I think they can come up with the victory. Off shot scenario. I also think Georgia's just not the monster that they have been. And if Florida had good play callers, I think Florida is a good enough team to beat them. I did say I was picking Houston. I don't think West Virginia is I don't think they're a functioning team. So give me Houston to cover. USC, Nebraska. Matt Rule has never beaten a ranked team at Baylor or Nebraska. Lincoln Riley is terrible as a road favorite. Movable force versus stoppable object. Who will win? The team with better players. Lincoln Riley. They'll win. They'll cover. Minus 5.5. Give me USC. Florida State is terrible. They're playing Wake Forest at home. Wake Forest plus 10.5. Give me them. And that is all the picks I got. And let me read you the rest of Dad's picks. Dad is picking Auburn minus 10.5 versus Kentucky. I guess Auburn, Hugh Freeze is still coaching for his job. I guess is the rationale there. Kentucky is a bad team, but every year that Kentucky just gets somebody in the SEC. So I honestly was looking at Auburn as an upset alert there, but Auburn minus 10.5 for that. He's betting Miami minus 12.5 to cover versus SMU. I could see it. I could definitely see it. The physicality advantage. That's the side I would lean on for sure. He's with me on Indiana minus 21.5. Yeah, it's what else needs to be said. Oh, we didn't talk about Tennessee, Oklahoma. Let's talk about Tennessee, Oklahoma real quick. Mateer going into Neyland Stadium, blackout or dark mode or dark out or whatever they're calling. Everyone has their own name. I don't trust his decision making. I think it's pretty clear at this point that he is a little shell shocked, a little unprepared for the defenses that he's got in the SEC. I think Joey Aguilar will not as pure raw talented as Mateer. I think he's at home. He'll be able to run his offense the way that Heupel wants him to. I think Oklahoma's defense is really tough, and I think they're going to put pressure on Aguilar. So I honestly expect this to be a lower scoring game, but I just don't trust Mateer in the road spot, in the road environment with all the pressure like that. So I wavered in this game a bunch because I really don't know who to pick. I'm excited to watch it. I didn't bet it. I guess I have to go Tennessee here, just a home team. I don't feel confident about Oklahoma's offense. They can't run the ball at all. But if Oklahoma wins like a 17-10 game here, I'm not going to be entirely shocked because it just, their defense is so good and Aguilar is limited in some capacity. So, but Ed is also picking. He's picking Tennessee -2.5. I get that. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm not betting it though. And he's fighting me again. He's getting Nebraska +6.5. I don't understand. I don't get it. Matt Rule doesn't beat ranked teams. This is just a known fact. We'll find out. But I'm kind of opposite on Dad a bunch this week. And if you know from history, it means you should be probably picking Dad. So, all right. Bit of a shorter show. Sorry about that. I'm really tired. I just got back from Wilmington, Massachusetts, from Boston, and I'm gassed. So I will see you all next week for the reaction show. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Everybody tune in live. You can be in the live chat, interact. And usually there's a very bald, very cool man on the other half of the screen to yell at me and counteract my points for everything I'm saying. But there's not right now, so I just get to talk to myself. And then I get to always be right when I talk to myself. So if you want to see more conversations, make sure to like and subscribe and tune in live. Thank you so much for watching.